कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणामालयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं वन्दे तं सच्चिदानन्दं यतिवर्यं महामतिं वेदवेदान्तसारग्नं सद्गुरुं प्रणतोऽस्म्यहं श्रीगुरुं प्रणतोऽस्म्यहं सद्गुरुं सच्चिदानन्दं साधुवर्यं सनातनं सद्वेदान्तप्रवक्तारं सदा स्वान्ते स्मराम्यहं गुरुब्रह्मा गुरुविष्णु गुरुदेवो महेश्वरः गुरुसाक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। ॐ नमो ब्रह्मादिभ्यो ब्रह्मविद्यासम्प्रदायकर्तृभ्यो वंशर्षिभ्यो नमो महभ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। With the blessings of Bhagavan, we were looking at this second basic principle, which is witnessing principle, cognizing the witnessing principle, that is Saakshi Swarupa. So here we were at page number 42. We have to start with the second stanza in Guidelines to Shankara Vedanta. In the above said manner, so this topic is under the witnessing principle, discrimination of that intellectual experience and intuitional experience. Okay, so buddhi gnana and sakshi gnana. In the above said manner, when we say I dreamt or I slept happily, these experiences are called intuitional experiences in Vedanta. The word intuition, anubhava, has got different meaning according to dictionary. But here in Vedanta, the meaning of the word is tuition, that is bodha or the knowledge which comes from in, that is inside to the intellect. So it is called intuitional experience. So that's why it is called paribhashika shabda, because the same shabda, the same word, that is experience, is used over here. But in the Vedantic term, the word experience has got different meaning than what we use in the empirical world. Because in the empirical world, the experience means the experience, as I told, my experience, it depends on multiple context. So generally the experience refers to your past experience, how much you have experienced in the life and through your sense organs, what are all the pain and pleasure you have undergone, that will be called the experience. Whereas here the direct intuitional experience, that is atmanubhava itself, is an experience over here. So that's why when I say I dreamt, I slept happily, that means that you are speaking by taking standpoint in your original self, because the entire dream you're objectifying, the entire waking you are objectifying. That's why inevitably you have to take a standpoint in your own self, and then you have to tell that. That is the intuitional experience. To get these experiences, there is no need of any of the activities or functions of the sense organs or the mind, because that sense organs or the mind will be inside the avastha, either jagrada avastha or swapna avastha. So that can't experience this whole dream or waking. That I already told with an example of the hot vessel holder. It comes directly from the inner bosom, which is our true nature. So, our nature, which is absolute nature of consciousness, absolute nature of consciousness, that consciousness which is not penetrated to any of the adjuncts, upadhi. Upadhi, when you say upadhi, it is like the one which passes through. So the consciousness has passed through my eyes. That's why I can see I can see the things. If without that consciousness, you can't see the world. So this is absolute consciousness. That consciousness which has not passed to any of the sense organs. Consciousness directly reminds the experiences of the dream and sleep to the waking mind. So in Vedantic terminology, it is called Saakshi Anubhava. This Sakshi Anubhava is quite separate from Anubhavas, which have been described above as perceptions and conceptions. That is uh, intellectual experience. Okay, when we are in the range of perceptions or emotions, that is conceptions, inevitably we have to take the identification with our mind and sense organs. So without identification with the mind or sense organs, we can't perceive anything in the world. So that we have already seen in Adhyasa Bhashya. So in Adhyasa Bhashya, we saw that our Lokika Anubhava doesn't happen without the Adhyasa. It is in the purview of Adhyasa. Likewise, even the Shastriya Anubhava, even the Moksha Anubhava, not the Sakshi Anubhava, the Vyavahara of Shastra and Vyavahara of Moksha, this concept will not happen without this Adhyasa. Is the purview of Adhyasa, in the realm of Adhyasa. So that's why we have to inevitably take identification with the mind or the sense organs. But when we turn our observations towards this intuitional experience, so turning the observation, what does it mean? Turning the observation means turning our observer, that is the introvert process. So we have to investigate who is illuminating these sense organs, who is the illuminator of the mind, who is that? That is the intuition experience. At that time, we lose our identification with our mind. Why we lose our identification with this mind? Because the mind is appearing only after the appearance of our anubhava. First anubhava, that which what anubhava? The sakshi anubhava should be there. Without the presence of sakshi anubhava, this will not exist at all. Okay. I will explain this with the example. Let us just complete this. We lose our identification with our mind or the antakarana, and automatically we remain in our true nature and objectify the antakarana by our true nature. So then what will happen? Antakarana will become object. So now, when you say subject and object relationship, we, when we identify ourselves with this antakarana, in English it is called internal organ. Okay, antakarana, the karana inside. Karana is the organ. So antakarana, when you take an identification with the antakarana, that will become a subject. And for that for subject, all the things will become object. Whereas after identification of the witnessing principle, the antakarana will become object, objectify the antakarana by our true nature. This is the difference between the ordinary thinking process of the mind and the discriminating process of Vedanta. Discrimination process of Vedanta. So that is the Viveka. That is called Viveka. Through ekagrate. So Viveka through the concept, the discrimination and concentration is very important over here. Viveka. So Viveka plays a major role here, important role, because wrong conception has happened due to misunderstanding. Itara itara avivekena. So we have understood one on the other. So that's why the only way is to discriminate and realize the true nature. So that is Viveka is very much necessary. For the Viveka, that is Gnana, that discrimination. So this Satyamrita Mritinikrita has happened. So we now has to identify the Satya. Asat and Sat. Sat Swarupa, Asat Swarupa. So both are both we the that's why Bhagavan told Nasato vidyate bhavo na bhavo vidyate satah. Ubhayorapi drishtantah tvaniva tattvadarshibhi. What is Sat and Asat? Tattvadarshi will know both the thing. Both the thing means what? Asat is just Asat means what? Which doesn't exist. Doesn't exist means that it is not there. It is not there means what is there? That only. That is a Viveka. That only we have to identify over here. Okay. Our Guruji, Devraj Kulkarni Guruji, was giving an example. So, in the cinema theater, I think nowadays, in this generation, people doesn't can't understand the concept of this example because in the current cinema theater, that kind of reels are not there because earlier days when I was in a childhood, okay, so my father generation were seeing that kind of cinema theaters only where we used to have the reels just like a photograph reels. Now everything's digitized. I think Shivansh and Smriti, it would be difficult to understand this. So in the YouTube, if you search, you can find that. So there were many reels, so big reels were there. So that used to come in a vehicle. Those reels used to come in a vehicle and it was transferred from one theater to another theater. So that big reels will be there behind. Okay, one uh, one hole will be there. In that hole, that reels will be running at certain speed. So on the other side, there will be a screen. As you know, the screen now also it is there, and in on that screen, so this light that is called arc lamp. So the reels will be there. So reels will be illuminated by an arc lamp. Arc lamp means big lamp will be there, so which will be illuminating this reels. So then when this reels runs at certain speed, that movement will happen. That's why it is called Chalana Chitra. Chalana Chitra. Chitra will move. That's why it is Chalana Chitra, cinema. Okay. So for that reason only, we can enjoy the movie. Okay. Assume that one village guy has come to the cinema theater. He doesn't know anything about this. So he came when cinema started. So what will he think? He will think that the all the things, whatever is appearing in the screen, he doesn't know where it is coming from, but he will just enjoy. But when he want to identify from where this, with the source of this entertainment, the cinema, he has to wait till the interval. In the interval, what will happen? This reels will be shut down. Then only on the screen the arc lamp will remain. At that time, what will happen is that movement will cease. So before that, what he was thinking, literally that movement of the cinema was happening on the screen. That might be his thinking. But now, if we explain, that will be a guru who will explain that. So that guru will explain that there is an arc lamp that is the source of all the cinema. Okay, without that arc lamp and the screen, that only is available. Arc lamp is available, the screen is available. Rest of the things, whatever you are seeing, the moments, that and all are that and all the reflections. The light which is illuminating and falling on the screen, so when it passes through that reels and runs, so that reels colors whatever is there, the man color, woman color, mountain color, everything, so that will be eliminated. The borrowed, that is a borrowed consciousness of the light arc lamp, borrowed consciousness of the arc lamp, when it falls on the reels and when it's deflected and falls on the screen, so then only you can see the movie, you will be having an entertainment. Imagine that sukha and dukkha, that is papa punya. Okay, so that entertainment will run till the interval, and after the interval and till the end of the movie. Okay, so now which is there, which is not there? The only thing which is there is this arc lamp and the screen, which is the being. That screen is being, and this is consciousness, pure consciousness. So this reels has borrowed the consciousness, and that is this arc lamp light is unlimited consciousness, that pure consciousness, which has not passed to any of the sense organs like that. So here, when it passes through the reels, the same light color will not change. The original light color will not change, but it is appears as different color. Okay, due to the intervention, due to the due to it passes through the reels. So that's why. So this thing, this light will appear in different form, different color, and runs through certain speed, so then only you can enjoy the cinema. Okay, this is a concept. So here I think you can relate over here also. So this, when you identify, when you are not identifying, you are thinking, so you are thinking that really some objects are moving in the cinema or something, whatever, you will not be sure what is happening. So now also we are not sure why this has happened, until and unless you want to know that, you will not investigate. You have to come to the path of Vedanta, otherwise we can't know the source. So like that, so when you identify that the witnessing principle itself is the source, so these things, whatever is there, whatever is appearing, the dual nature, yatra hidvaitam eva bhavati, whatever, in just like in the dream, the waking also, this all will get falsified, and then only that only alone will remain. Okay, this is the difference between the ordinary thinking process and the discriminating process. You have discriminated correctly, So even after the interval, if that village person, he can see the same movie, but now he has discriminated properly. What is there? What is not there? What is appearing? What is there? Likewise, for this purpose, it is said that viveka and vichara does not mean the ordinary process of thinking of the intellect. It is just not a thinking process. Viveka, when you say viveka, so in Kannada and Sanskrit also viveka term is there. Viveka will depends on different context. Empirical world, the viveka usage will be different. Whereas in this Vedanta, when you say viveka, it is pure discrimination of self and non-self. Okay, to take a stand in one's own true nature of the witnessing principle of life, this type of discrimination is the only means, and through this means only, the cognition of the witnessing principle of life, meaning Getting Sakshi Anubhava is possible. From this standpoint, when one follows the Vedantic teachings, one will easily grasp and realize at last the non dual absolute self as the whole and sole reality. So, at first stage, we have to first cognize, we have to first identify that there is a witnessing principle. So, in all this anubhava, whatever anubhava we are having, for all these anubhavas, this is the main source. When we identify that source is there through our Sarvatrika Purnanubhava, so then we have to start investigate and take a standpoint in that Sakshi Anubhava. To take a standpoint in a Sakshi Anubhava, we have to use a prakriya that will be told in the next basic principle, which is Adhyaropa Apada Prakriya. So that is, we are knowing that, knowing the self, the knowledge of the self. We are knowing the real nature of the self. We are, that is, that real nature is the one which we have to know that. What is to be known? But that's why Bhagavan will tell, Gneyam, Gneyam. So, Gneyam yattat pravakshami yajnato amritamashtute. So, this is the only thing which have to know that. So, if we know this, we will get an amritatva. So, we are wasting our time to know multiple things in our life, but it all will go after our death. Not only that, at the time of appearance also it is not, it is just an appearance, it is not there, and it will always lead to suffering. We doesn't know that. So that's why, so with that vichara, that nitya nitya vastu viveka and the vairagya, we have to have that. So that vairagya, with the vairagya thing, it comes under kartutantra sadhana. So that we will see after that, uh, for third basic principle adhyaropapada. And when we the realizing the self is the vastu tantra sadhana. Vastu means here the thing is atma gneya. The what is to be known is our vastu, it is atma gnana. So knowing that atma gnana is vastu tantra. Okay, I'm just given an hint on that basic principle which we are going to see in the future. Okay, that is the thing, because it came now that so through the Vedantic teachings we have to take an identification with self. So to take an identification with self, what we have to do, so that and all will come in the future basic principles. Okay, so now the witness as a distinct from active ego. Okay, process, what is the process of discrimination? What will happen? At first, an aspirant should know that there are two types of I. Okay, Swamiji, I think somewhere he has written in English book. It is only determined in Shankara's laboratory that this I has got two eyes. One is real I, which is capital I. Another is fake I, which is small I. Okay. One is acting I. So here they are mentioned in capital letters. We have to mention that is in a small letters. It's not a capital I, small I. That is the mean notion. Notion means what? Appearing to be the me. That's all. Me notion in empirical life. It is not real me. That's why it is me notion. Bhava. That's all. Aham bhava. That's it. Bhavana. This is not real aham. And the other, the real I, which is Sakshi or witness of the all. That is capital I. In empirical dealings also, there these two types of I are prevailing. Okay, so Guruji has is giving an example. So to know how these two kinds of eyes are, we are we can experience. Okay, just an actor takes part in the drama as the king or an emperor, and on the stage he acts just like a king, having all adjuncts as a dress, etc. So imagine, any kind of king. Okay, you say Sarvabhauma. So he may be a Sri Ramachandra. So he will be having all kind of adjuncts. So for Sri Ramachandra, whatever he want to wear as a king, and what all is there in his premises, that mantri, etc. Those will be having at the time of acting. He will be engaged with that. Okay, emperor. At that time, he says, I am an emperor, and performs all actions related to that part. When he is an emperor, he will see what all is going on in this my empire. In Ayodhya, what all is going to happen. He will inquire. He will he will be having the Anujas, Lakshmana, Bharata, Shatrughna, everyone. He will be assigning the duties to everyone. Okay? And then this the acting I. This is the acting I. He'll be acting that acting guy. What he really is, a man in the world. At the time of acting itself, he is well aware that I am so and so. I belong to this house. I belong to this state, this country. My age is this. So everything he is well aware. But at the time of acting, he has to behave like that only, just like a chess. In that chess, we very well know that it is made of plastic. Earlier, it was made up of wooden. Now it is made of plastic. So we will, when we say it is king, Rani, so that's Sainikas, everything we have to keep that in mind only. So with that only that game will go. Otherwise, game will not continue. So after the game, we'll all put everything in the box. Okay, that is a man in the world. That is that his being is the real I, having the adjuncts of a dress of a king. When he comes later from behind the curtain, even though he is still in the dress of the king, he deals with other person from the standpoint of his true nature as a man. Even he was in the dress of Sri Ramachandra, he will inquire, assume that Ravana part has been taken by his own brother. But with that brother, he will be speaking nicely. So he will inquire what has happened. My mother was not well now. How is she now? He will ask that, even though he is in the dress. So that means, so now he has come to his true nature. True at that time also, he was he was very well aware that he was that only, but he was acting. Now completely. So now acting, it's not that action dress alone is there. So he can complete it like an identification with the real I. Okay, as a man. At that time, his adjuncts are not important, but his true nature is predominant factor. Okay. Similarly, commonly, so because this concept of I is very important, Chidabhasa, we'll call this Chidabhasa, small I concept. Okay. Through that small I concept, we have to identify real I. Okay. So in Tattvamasi Prakarana in Chandogya Upanishad and Upadesha Sahasri and Nishkarma Siddhi, everywhere, even in Brahadaranaka, everywhere, because everywhere the teaching starts from this small I and realization of the real I. Because so we can go back till this I, me notion. Go back in the sense, the process of discrimination. Sir, ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. Okay. Okay. Commonly, when we say, I'm so and so, I'm a doer of actions, I'm happy or miserable, etc., then this is the acting I. So in the Drishtanta, it is that. In Drishtanta, when we say, I'm so and so, I'm sad, I'm doer, I'm that, I'm this, everything, it is just like an acting of Sri Ramachandra. Okay? Acting I, which has taken the part of the individual soul in the stage of waking and the dream. So dream we can easily identify. We can easily accept the, oh yes, correct, in the dream. So it is just an acting I. But waking, we won't accept that because we are clinging to the objects, external objects. We are not only clinging, we are taking identification with those objects. Okay. So this individuality is called the me notion or pramatru. This is pramatru identification. Aham prati, another name, aham pratyaya. There is aham pratyaya. Okay. Aham pratyaya vishya kartru. Aham pratyaya vishya kartru and enjoyer and bhoktru. When you are kartru, you will be a bhoktru also, enjoyer. So because when you do something, the result also you have to enjoy. The result can be good or bad result, so that you will be an enjoyer, etc. In the empirical life, this individuality appears as if it is real due to adjuncts like mind, intellect, sense organs, body, etc. That is called upadhi. In English, it is adjuncts. In Sanskrit term, it is upadhi. So with this upadhi, it will be uh, individual appearance. It will appear as if it is real, even though it is not real. It appears as if it is real due to the adjuncts. Adjuncts means what? Here, when in an example, just like a village guy, when he was not able to identify the real source of the cinema, he was thinking that just like how in the uh, नाटक में वो डॉल्स सूत्र का डॉल्स होता है ना, वो जैसे रन होता है. He might have thought like that in the background some persons are really, or just like in real drama the people will be there. No, he might be thinking that, but now those are not there because the cinema and real natak drama is different, because in drama real people will be running, whereas real people will not be there. It is just an illumination. Okay, just hold a minute, I will put that charger. So now you can't say this as an adjunct. Your intellect, body, because we are now identify ourselves with that antkarana, mind or body, whatever. We will take identification at different places, as we mentioned in the Adhyasa Bhashya. But a Shruti or Acharya has to come and say it is not real. It is an adjunct for you. It is an upadhi for you. So through this upadhi, we have to recognize ourselves. When I say through, not by just like so how we are cognizing or perceiving the world, it is not like that. So through our antakarana, we are cognizing and perceiving the world. So with the same antakarana, which is perceiving the world, we have to use that antakarana for discrimination. The technique of usage will be different over here. When I say through this, so through this upadhi, through this adjuncts, we have, because it is nearer to the self. Nearer means what? It is there itself. But both eyes are there over here, small I and capital I. So just we have to discriminate that. So that's why this whole all the prakriyas will come into picture. So how to discriminate that? So this upadhi is an indication. For example, if someone says, if you are imagine if you are finding someone's homes, say some Yagnadatta home, you can ask some people who is walking over there, you can ask, do you know where is the home of Yagnadatta? So he may reply saying that, see sir, there you can see one crow, crow standing on that home, no? So that itself is the home of Yagnadatta. So when he says that crow is there, that building itself is the home of Yagnadatta, that doesn't mean that crow is the home. Crow is just an adjunct, upadhi. Through that crow, you identify that home. Just like that, through this upadhi, can identify this real self, which are only for, so this after that, if is really individuality appears as if it is really real due to the adjuncts like mind, intellect, sense organs, body, etc., which are only false appearances and of adventitious and ephem- ephemeral nature, restricted to a particular state. Sorry, I think it is an empirical nature, adventitious, and I will check that whether this term is correct or not. I don't know whether in the proofreading they have done this properly or not. And empirical nature, restricted to a particular state, either waking or dream, and are conjured up by ignorance, where these adjuncts disappear like in the state of deep sleep state. So this kind of adjuncts, if it is there, if it is real, it should continue in the deep sleep also. It will not continue in the deep sleep, but our existence will continue. Our existence will not be there. We will not say that our existence is not there. At the time of appearance also our existence will be there, at the time of it is disappearance of this adjunct also our experience will be there. So that's why in Kannada Guruji was telling, ತಾನು ತನ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಎಚ್ಚರ, ಎಚ್ಚರದಲ್ಲಿರುವ ಇಡೀ ಅವಸ್ಥೆ ವಸ್ತುಗಳು, ಎಚ್ಚರವು ಹೋಯಿತು, ಎಚ್ಚರದ ವಸ್ತುಗಳು ಹೋಯಿತು, ತಾನು ಉಳಿಯಿತು. ತಾನು ಉಳಿದು, ತಾನು ಉಳಿತು ಎಲ್ಲಿ? ನಿದ್ರೆನಲ್ಲಿ. ಸೊ ತಾನಲ್ಲೇ ಕನಸಾಯಿತು. ಕನಸಿನ ಇಡೀ ಪ್ರಪಂಚವನ್ನು ಕಂಡೆ. ಕನಸು ಹೋಯಿತು, ತಾನು ಉಳಿಯಿತು. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ the real I, on that real I, in this real I itself, on this real I, waking state appeared, and the objects of all the waking state appear to be existing, all the three planes, and waking state has dissolved. At the time of waking state also, this original I will be there, and when it dissolves, this will go, the world related to waking state will go, but real I remains in the deep sleep state. On that real I, dvaya advayancha dvaya bhasam, the dream state will appear. That on the dream state, all these three planes will appear, and it will disappear, and real I will remain. This is kind of a sutra formula what Guruji has given. Okay. There remains the real I, Saakshi or witnessing consciousness, as it is the true nature. This is clearly said in Chandogya Upanishad 693. Thus, all individuals remain in their true nature in deep sleep state. That is, swapiti. In the deep sleep, all the individual will remain in their true nature. Swam hi apito bhavati swapiti. Now also we are in true nature. That he will explain through the support of Sutra Bhashya. So now also we are in our true nature only. But we are appearing with all these adjuncts. Waking adjuncts or dream adjuncts will be there. But there is a state where none of the adjuncts will be there. All will be observed, and will remain in our own state. Okay. That's why it is called swapiti. Swamhi apito bhavati swapiti, in deep sleep state. This true nature is not at all affected by the appearance of individuality, which appears due to adjuncts. It will not get affected. Just like an arc lamp, if it is alone is there, it will not worry about what cinema it will run on it, whether it is English cinema, Hindi cinema, Kannada cinema, Bollywood, Tollywood, or flop cinema, good cinema, whatever, Dhurandhar, hit cinema, or flop cinema. I don't know which is a flop cinema. So those, it will not worry at all. It will be there. But any of the hit cinema, when it comes, it will not become happy. It will remain like that only. Just like that, it will not get affected. It will not get affected. Our self will not get affected. Whatever might be your individual papa punya might be. This upadi, in this particular upadi, you are a man. You are having this kind of sorrow and all positions. It will be there. It will not get affected. When it cease to exist in the deep sleep state, it will remain like that only. After this complete janma, that is after, even after death, this light will remain, that whole self will remain. If you won't realize, again you appear to be born, but it will continue to exist unless you realize your own self, which appears due to the agents. At the time also, it continues to exist as it was before. Shankaracharya declares this thing in the Sutra Bhashya 327. So where he said that apicha na kadachit जीवस्य ब्रह्मणा संपत्तिर na asti स्वरूपस्य अनपायित्वात्. So that means besides there is no time when jiva has not become one with Brahman. This is important Sutra Bhashya. So there is no time. So we may say that jiva and witness is there. Jiva Brahma Aikya. I told there is nothing called Aikya process. When you discriminate and take your identification with your own self, that itself Jivaikya. We even you are thinking when at the time of thinking that you are you are a Baddha, you are not having the moksha. In this time also, so you will not be affected, that your own self will not be affected by anything. Your true nature is that only. So that's why there is no time when Jiva has not become one with Brahma. Even it is the waking state, you have become one with Brahma only. Only thing you have not identified, that's all. Because Swarupasya Anapayitvat, for one's instinct nature cannot be alienated. It cannot be removed by any means. No one can destroy that. That's why Bhagavan will say that uh, it can't be burned by fire. It can't be burned by air. We'll say no. Nainam chindanti shastrani, nainam dhati pavaka, na chainam kledantyapah, na shoshati maruta. Nothing can destroy that. It will be there. Swarupasa anapayitvat. Then swapna jagirita yo astu upadi samparkavashat पररूपापपत्तिमिव अपेक्षत उपशमात् सुषुप्ते स्वरूपा स्वरूपापत्तिर्वक्ष्यते. अतश्च सुप्तावस्थायां कदाचित् सता सम्पद्यते कदाचित् न सम्पद्यते इति आयुक्तम्. That means only in view of the seeming foreign aspect. Which is that foreign aspect? Waking and dream state, Dvaita, external adjuncts, foreign aspect which he assumes in dream and waking owing to contact of conditioning associates. When it gets contact with these adjuncts, it will appears to be illuminated as a self, even though it is not self. This this small I will come into picture, just like a mirror. Mirror doesn't have its own illuminating power. So illuminating power will be borrowed by the sunlight. But unless and until you identify the source, you might be thinking that this only will be mirror only will be illuminating. So when it comes to contact, so if there is no mirror at all, so there is no question of misunderstanding. Only when mirror comes into picture, it will reflect the light, but it doesn't have any kind of capacity. So it only reflects the sunlight, just like that. When the real consciousness falls on this small eye, it appears to be illuminating. When it comes to the contact of this small eye, so it will take a stand of the, it will stand and say that I am this. So that will become individual. Till now, it is not an individual, it is all pervading. You now take an identification as an individuality. That is the error over here. So that light, sunlight, is all pervading before. When mirror comes, it will illuminate that part of the mirror only, according to the shape of the mirror. If it is a round mirror, it will illuminate the round shape of the light. Just like that, if this upadhi is man upadhi, it will take the it will identify yourself as the consciousness of this man. If it is upadhi is a parrot upadhi, it will take the upadhi of the parrot. If it is a worm, it is a bird, it will take the upadhi accordingly in even the devatas upadhi also. Hope you understood that. Okay. Only in view of the seeming foreign aspect which he assumes in dream and waking, when it comes to the contact, you have to relate from dream to waking, because understanding the concept of dream is easy. After you understand the concept of dream, so same thing you have to correlate with the waking also. Dream and waking, owing to the contact of conditioning associates, it is proposed to say that he attains his own form on the dissolution of that foreign aspect. So just like in the interval, he can know what is there, what is appearing. Reels are not, they're not at all, it is just a reels. The only things available is the screen and the light. Here also, when all these adjuncts is not there, where in the deep sleep state, you will remain as yourself. Okay. Here also you are remaining as yourself. It is not, that's why there is no time at all where Jiva and Brahma has become different. Now it is there only. Brahma is also prevailing there here also. But in the deep sleep state, that Upadhi itself is not there. So there it is very easy to recognize that. Just like in the example. Now it is easy to recognize now. Through that experience of the deep sleep, we have to first recognize what is there. Oh, I was there in the deep sleep state. My existence continued in the deep sleep state without any adjuncts. I was there. How I was there happily, pure bliss. There is no question of joy and sorrow. So I was there. That is my true nature. Okay. It is proposed to say that he attains his own form, the decision of the foreign aspect. It is but reasonable that the jiva merged in pure being, Brahman, is not conscious but of absolute unity. It is an absolute unity. So that's why I also told an example of Diptakarya Balaki and Ajatashatru. So first, that two questions came, no, where he was and from where he has come from. So that two question is a basic question. In the deep sleep state, we were in our true nature. That we have to investigate and you have to first understand that. We have to put ourselves many questions. That is pariprashna. Through the help of Shastra and Acharya, we have to ask those questions and we have to first get convinced that in our deep sleep state we were in our true nature. So we were there in our own swarupa, swapiti. So when we were there in our own true nature, after waking, from where we came, have we traveled from our own nature to somewhere else? No, we have not at all traveled. We have, if at all you have not traveled, so then what is the thing? If you are not traveled, what is this? What is it? What is that we are? seeing all this, it is just an appearance on that. See, we are still remaining as our true nature only. Okay, that we have to properly contemplate, continuously contemplate. So that is the real usage of this study, that is adhyayana. We shouldn't stop. Some or the adhyayana we have to do daily, and whatever adhyayana we have done, study we have done, we have to contemplate properly in our mind. So because it can happen anytime when you are traveling, when you have gone to any other place. So for time pass, instead of looking at the mobile, so we can contemplate these kind of things. What teachings Acharya, what teachings Shruti has given, what Acharya has explained, and how we can do that contemplation within us, and what judgment comes, what questions come in our mind, what how to get answer to that question. Those things we have to do. So this life is there for that only. If we can't do 100%, at least some of the time we have to dedicate for this. That is the real use of our time. If we won't do, our life will just go like that. So if it goes just like that, coming to this Punya Bhumi Bharata will not be, which is very important. So why have taken birth in this Punya Bhumi? To gain this knowledge. If at all, if we won't gain this knowledge, the purpose will fail. What we have come for this, not for that what we are doing in this empirical world. That is also important. I'm not telling that is not important. That is also should be there. But that is not the purpose. That is the thing. So that's why let us pray God and Guru to have to gain this knowledge, whatever sadhana we require. So from him only the sadhana also should happen. We have to try. That is practice. We have to try to practice. We shouldn't think that we are a practicer, then that will happen. We have to try practicing. Surrender to God and Guru. Try practicing. So after practicing with the anugraha of Bhagavan, so ultimately we can able to realize ourselves. So let us end this by doing the prarthana with that Sampradaya Guru. Om Namo Brahmadibhyo Brahma Vidya Sampradaya Kartrabhyo Om Sharshibhyo Namo Mahabhyo Namo Gurubhya Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tasya Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. We will see you tomorrow.